Hi, I'm Elizabeth Hendrickson. I work with leaders and teams. Today I want to talk about partnering. Partnering is a skill. You can get better at it. It's closely related to collaboration or teamwork, so closely related that I won't bother trying to draw distinctions. Anything you learn about being a better partner also makes you better at collaboration. No matter what role you play, you will get farther and have more influence if you can partner effectively. But if you're in a leadership position, partnering is an essential skill. You'll be called on to partner with your peers across the organization and across the company. So let's take some examples of good and bad partnering. Some time ago, I was leading an organization going through a major transformation. Most of the people who reported to me were managers of managers. One of the leaders on my team was an exceptional partner. To be fair, we started with a huge advantage. We had a shared set of values, so we were aligned from the very beginning. But what made him an exceptional partner wasn't the stuff we agreed on. It was the disagreements. We were able to have difficult conversations without egos, defensiveness, hidden agendas, or deference. Unquestioning deference is as toxic to a partnership as disloyalty. So in our partnership, everything went on the table. Sometimes he was right, sometimes I was right. There was a lot of give and take on both sides. During that same time, I had two other leaders who reported to me who I was not able to partner with. One was accustomed to taking orders, then executing in whatever way he saw fit. When we were discussing things that needed to happen, he'd say, "I'll get right on that. Don't worry about it." He deferred to me on decisions and expected me not to care how he got things done. He wasn't engaging with me as a partner. That's hands-off delegation. I don't believe in that model of delegation anyway, but even if I did, we didn't have enough alignment for that to work. The other person had a strong vision for where the organization needed to go and was unwilling to have a give and take conversation with me about it. Instead, he went behind my back and undermined me. Now, he made it clear he didn't respect me, and you might think that was the deal killer, that I was offended that he didn't respect me. Not at all. We could have built mutual respect and trust over time. We didn't have to start there, but no, this person was a bad partner because he didn't think he should have to partner with me or with anyone else. The problem wasn't that he didn't respect me. The problem was that he didn't care about the relationship. It's worth noting that neither one of these leaders lasted in the organization. Okay, so all three of these examples were about partnering with people who reported to me. They're part of my leadership team. What about peers in other parts of the organization? People who work in an entirely different function, where they don't have the same goals or even the same language. In some companies, long-standing traditions and incentive structures have us working at cross purposes, or worse, pit us against each other. Consider an audit function incentivized to find and address every little compliance deviation, working with a product delivery function that's incentivized to move fast and break things. Not set up for success. So how do you partner effectively with people in completely different roles? Turns out it's the same way you partner with people whose jobs you understand. You're looking to establish three things: communication, commitment, alignment. Communication means that you can have the hard conversations. You're open and honest and even vulnerable. That might involve taking a risk if you don't yet trust the other person, but someone has to go first. And that brings us to the next thing. Commitment. You stay in it, even when things get tough. You commit time and energy and resources to the partnership. You work with the other person to resolve issues before escalating to someone else. If circumstances change, you can renegotiate the level of commitment that you expect from one another. Yay, good communication. But you don't change your level of commitment unilaterally. Commitment is how you build trust. And third thing, alignment. You find common ground. You identify the shared goals and agree on how to get there. You pull in the same direction. This one is last because if you don't start with alignment, you'll need communication and commitment to get there. So in that same company, I was incredibly fortunate to have strong partnerships with multiple HR and finance business folks. In each case, they were willing to teach me what I didn't know. So I learned a tremendous amount about labor law and tax law and compensation philosophies and benchmarking and ARR and TCV and bookings. stuff I hadn't really known before. In turn, I taught them about software development. Learning from each other led to shared understanding. Together, we collaborated on shaping the policy within my organization. We changed the way that we did salary benchmarking and annual promotions and raises to meet their needs, but also support the culture that I wanted to build. And that's the thing about partnership. You don't have to have the same exact goals, but you have to find a way to care about what the other person cares about. Over time, we built alignment, communication, and commitment. Better yet, what we built together worked and had a broader influence across the company. I was less fortunate in some of my other partnerships across the organization. Sometimes I was the problem. Sometimes I thought I knew better than my partner. Sometimes I wasn't open to listening and instead jumped to conclusions on areas of the business I didn't know as much about as I thought I did. I'd like to believe I learned my lessons and became a better partner over time. Sometimes it was that the other person jumped to conclusions or thought that they knew better. Sometimes they violated my trust, and sometimes they chose to play politics to undermine rather than support. Most often, when partnering wasn't going well, it was both of us, mutually bad partnering. There are a lot of variations on bad partnerships, but it generally comes down to not valuing the relationship enough to invest in it, or not knowing how to invest in a relationship that doesn't come naturally. This is why I say partnership is a skill. You have to learn how to overcome the natural points of friction. Communicate, stay in it even when it's hard, find common ground. A good partnership doesn't just happen. It's built one interaction at a time. Oh, and besides being an essential skill that can boost your career, partnering has one more huge benefit. An organization that runs on solid partnerships rather than coercion or competition is a far more humane and pleasant place to work. So, if you want a better working environment, focus on improving your partnerships. Thank you for listening. See you next time.